Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Heroes World Quarantine Podcast. I'm your host, Stupe. I am here with the owners, proprietor of Heroes World in Markham, Ontario. That would be John and Andre.
Hello.
Hello.
And our resident Lord of Mischief, Rob.
Hey, how's it going?
So thank you so much for, again, joining us. This is a podcast where it's a conversation that we would have in the storm normally. We talk about all pop culture things. We talk about geek things, comic books, all video games, pretty much all of it. So today we are here to talk about The Three Jokers, issue number 1. It is a 1 of 3 series, which Rob has edumacated me on. So thank you for that. And we're here to talk about issue number 1 and some other Joker topics along the way. So please note that if you have not read it already, we will be going to spoiler territory. We will be discussing things. It's only about 47 pages, so I don't know how much we can spoil too much as an only comic 1, but be warned that this is what's happening, and anything said going forward is going to be spoiling issue number 1 of Three Jokers.
Well, there's something big that happens towards the end of the issue, and we'll try dropping.
But again, it's issue 1,
before
so
we
we
say
don't know
anything.
whether it's carries on or not. So anyways, of course, this comic was written by Geoff Johns and illustrated by a Canadian artiste. And his name is, can someone pronounce it properly? I'm going to butcher
Jason
it.
Fabok.
Fabok, yes. Or, yes, Jason Fabok.
Is it Fabok or Fabok? Well, I think the way he pronounced it on his Instagram stories of late is Fabok. Fabok. Right
Okay.
on.
Yes, thank you for that. That was perfect, Rob. And if you'd like to know more about Fabok, just go to his Instagram account and you'll know all about that. So I want to start off with Rob. So now that, again, for those who...
Oh, you're mixing it up.
Spoilers, everything. Well, I'm going to go over you first for this one. What are your thoughts on it? Go tell us what you think about Three Jokers, issue 1.
Let me just say, so actually I've met Jason Fabok a few times at a couple private signings and at Fan Expo. So they announced this book, I think, was it 2017 or 2018? And when I said to him, I think DC had said, hey, this is coming out in either 2018 or 2019. And he said, when I asked him about it at Fan Expo, he's like, yeah, that's not happening. Like, they're barely fleshing out the story. I'm glad that they've taken the time. He's been very vocal about the fact that the pandemic and everything being shut down has allowed him and Geoff Johns more time to tighten it up. I really enjoyed this story, and the art is phenomenal. It's obvious Geoff Johns loves a 9-panel grid, right? Because most of this book is drawn with 9 panels. I found that we can get into what plot lines, but in terms of, it focuses on, as it says, 3 Jokers. This is an idea that was born out of Geoff Johns' DC Rebirth that came out in 2018. There are 3 Jokers. There is the criminal who, I want to make sure, he's the one that shot Barbara Gordon, right? Batgirl. There is the comedian. He's the one that took down Jason Todd, Robin, in 1986. And then there is the clown, who is the one that has been kind of terrorizing, I think, most of the DC universe comic-wise since the last maybe 10 or 15 years. So it's a mystery. We don't know. We haven't really delved into what is going on, why there are 3 Jokers. All we know is that, we are building up to it. The art is phenomenal. I actually messaged John and I said, when you're looking at this, there are times where I think, holy crap, like there's some of these faces, they look like Gary Frank drew some of these panels. And that's not to take anything away from Fabok. I think for me, I think that's a compliment, because I think his art has really, like, this is the best thing I've seen him draw in a very long time.
It's pretty fire, yeah. It's really
his Batman is definitive. And he's gone on record and on saying he doesn't know if he's got his definitive Batman yet. He always talks about Jim Lee and Brian Boland. They have the definitive Batman. No, man, Fabok, he draws Batman so well. From his time on Detective Comics to the Justice League Dark Side War, like, he has a very distinctive Batman, and it's a gorgeous book. I'm very excited for issue number 2. And it's, it hit on all cylinders for me. I quite enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thanks for your insight. John, do you want to drop us with some knowledge on us now?
Yeah, well, I thought, yeah, I agree with Rob. The book looks gorgeous. It's got a good amount of meat to it. It is under the DC Black label.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that means it's continuity or not. I'm not
It
100%
is.
sure.
It is in continuity.
So yeah, so and it is a darker story. So like, you know, kids are you don't want to pick this up for your younger nieces and nephews and stuff like that, unless they're, you know, really, you know, ready for it. I really liked it features a lot of different characters, and typically a Batman story you'll see Nightwing and Robin. So it's nice that this one is Batgirl and Red Hood. So if you're a Red Hood fan, I feel like they really are fleshing out this character in this book. I feel like they introduced him. He's an excellent character, an excellent kind of quasi villain hero. His introduction was amazing. I really liked how he originally came back, but I feel like this one they're giving him a lot more to do and a lot more emotion and a little bit more into why he does things the way that he does them. So I was really happy with that, and yeah, like and the three Joker things, like that's pretty crazy. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the previous incarnations. Like at one point, one of the Jokers hits him with a fishbowl. Like I don't know if that's like a '70s Batman Adam West type thing. Like, who runs up and hits someone with a bowl of fish? You know, it's kind of weird.
The Joker does.
Yeah, apparently, like yeah, you're used to the acid flower and stuff like that, and the deadly cards and stuff like that. But a bowl of Joker fish is kind of funny. But yeah, I really liked it. I really liked seeing especially the Barbara Gordon and the Jason Todd aspect.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Andre, clean up. What do you got for us?
Yeah, good start to the book. Like Rob mentioned, it's got the 9 panels and stuff, and it's got a very gritty art style. But I really think that Fabok or Fabok, how you pronounce it, he's really channeling Brian Boland. This book is same thing with the panel structure. It's mimicking arguably the greatest Joker story ever told, which is The Killing Joke. Right? Yeah. So it's
yeah. When he's wearing the outfit, the Killing Joke outfit with the hat.
It's totally that. And the cool thing about this book is, as John mentioned, it's featuring Barbara Gordon and Jason Todd, and these are two people that are like traumatized, I would say, arguably the most, and survived to tell about it from the Joker. So they've got to skin in this game as well, and it is a very emotional ride. I'm glad that they decided to go a prestige format, no ads, and 67 pages. So it felt like you were getting meat to it. Very dark book. The color palette was very dark and stuff, but it pays homage to some of those old Joker stories, and especially referencing the fish, which is a very 70s, 80s Joker take on it and stuff. And yeah, we are on board for this ride that started, I think, in 2016 when Geoff Johns writing Justice League and Batman in the Dark Side War. He gets the Mobius chair and he asks the question, who is the Joker? And the chair responds with, there are 3 of them. So all of a sudden we've got the world's greatest detective, and he did not know that. So now it throws everything that we know out the door. So we're like Batman, we're trying to figure this out. So it actually kind of explains why Bruce Wayne or Batman could never have figured out who the Joker's real identity was. So a great start to the book. I will say my one qualm with the book is that it is Black Label, because John touched on it, is Black Label books could be continuity, they might not be continuity. And I think that's a little bit of a shall we say, get out of jail free card. You know, they can do stuff in this, and then they'd be like, oh, but it was Black Label. I think if they had put it just as a prestige format
I think Rob is right, though. They did make a statement saying it's going to be continuity. But,
sure, but they
could totally renege that.
And I think, and the reason why I think I'm questioning is because as a fan of Killing Joke, like that was probably one of the first prestige format.
Was that continuity actually originally?
It originally was, and the ramifications was the Barbara Gordon thing. And even though people read into the art and read into the moments that don't appear in that book is still appropriate for a 12 to 15-year-old. I think I was about 12 when I bought that book. However, I feel that this particular book, I don't know if I would be comfortable. There's definitely a more gratuitous nature to the violence in it, and stuff, and some of it is kind of over the top, and you could be like, yeah, that's just comic book stuff, but some of it is just, wow, there's like, yikes. So I don't know if, again, like I feel that if they put it in the DCU regular and they toned it down, it wouldn't take away from the story, and it would give a broader appeal. Or myself as a retailer, I would feel better about it, selling it to people, you know, as a great story. I don't think this will be a book that I would recommend to a kid, you know, at all in the store. Not because it's bad, not because I want to believe in censorship, but because it might just be a little bit, you know, more mature. And of course, they put in a swear word for what? Like we don't need that.
It's like any PG-13 movie, Andre. You get one. You get one. You get one.
Transformers.
Yeah.
And X-Men, they used it perfectly in Days of Future Past. You get one. And
Yeah.
First Class, you get one. And then they use it perfectly there as well. So you're allowed to get away with one. It's the gratuitous violence that makes it a rated R or makes it an advisory one. So that's typically what happens. So it's great. I got everyone's at least initial view. I know we talked a little bit about predictions. So thoughts on where you think this is going, John?
I have no clue. Like one of the Jokers looks really old. Like I forget which version that is, Rob, or whatever. There's like one.
That's the.
Looks like he's kind of like the boss.
That's the clown.
Yeah. And then the other two definitely look kind of like stuck in time, where they're like your typical view of Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But I see this as like a big. I feel like this is going to be a big arc for, like I said, Red Hood and Batgirl. It seems like they're going to be very centric in the story.
Okay.
So other than that, yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's crazy, man. Like this 3 Jokers, crazy.
Andre, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
You know, I'm glad you asked this question, because it really brings up the fact that this book has been in production so long. So I don't know what the actual outcome is, but I question whether or not it's actually going to have any ramifications in the DCU. Because if this book had come out when it was supposed to come out, those things that affect Barbara Gordon and Jason Todd would have been reflected in the rest of the DCU. So I don't really know if this is going to be we're moving forward, we're going to establish that there's only this one Joker that survives this story arc or whatever. You know, I hope that there is an overall point to the story. I said this, you know, before when the Darkseid War came out, and that was Jason Fabok and Justice League, and that was a great arc, man. That was like, you know, some great cosmic action. We introduced Darkseid's daughter, and she was just badass. Anyways, the book was super cool, and I remember being really excited when Batman got in the chair, and I'm like, this is going to be the smartest man on the planet, getting access to infinite knowledge. And
looking like he came out of Tron.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he decides to ask about the Joker. I'm like, who cares? Like you know, we don't need to know who the man was before. It's not going to change who he is now. So I thought there would have been something bigger in scope. Now, maybe the revelation of what this Joker is going to be larger in scope, but I feel that, like I said just now, if it was, this should have had ramification years ago. You know, like they've been, you know, writing and drawing this book for years. So hopefully
Joker War is going on right now, right?
Yeah, and hopefully they are going to have something that follows up, and hope to God this book is not late. There's no justification.
No, it's done.
If any of these books come out even a week late, man, that's done. Because let's look at what Geoff Johns has done, and I don't want to steer us too far off course, but we were all hyped about Doomsday Clock, and that thing took 3 years and had no impact whatsoever on
yet.
Yeah, but
Yes.
but what's the point? You know what I mean? Like they had to move on. They did Rebirth. You know, so I'm hoping it isn't one of those situations. But if it's a good story and it is self-contained, there's nothing wrong with that. But just don't tease us with this is going to have ramifications throughout the DCU.
Mm-hmm. Rob, what about you? What are your predictions?
I'm not really too sure what the next two next two issues are going to hold.
You assume basic on this one was Jason Todd, the next one would be about Barbara Gordon, and the third one would be Bruce Wayne.
There's a moment towards the last quarter of the book where, as John referenced, the three Jokers are sitting there, and the comedian is essentially holding court as the elder statesman almost, and he says to the other two Jokers, okay, you know what we have to do? We have to build a better Joker. So obviously we're talking about some type of cloning or transformation or whatever the case may be. There's a game plan involved. I think you're right, Stu. This one dealt with Jason Todd. Are we talking spoilers at this point or no?
Yeah.
Just give the fans a heads up. Okay, there's a major spoiler right now.
We already said it before, so they've been warned. We're being too generous at this point.
Book's on sale now. Grab it.
Yeah,
if it hasn't sold you yet.
This book ends with Jason Todd enacting his revenge against the comedian who killed him in 1986. Listen, if anybody, we could go on. Like honestly, the four of us could sit here and we could talk about the history of Joker in the comics and everything that happened in 86 and phoning it in, and the, back way kids before the internet, you had to like write in your thing and phone in a special number. Is Todd going to live or die, whatever the case may be. But we're not going to do that tonight. But so he deals with this, but it's very important in so much as that it almost retconned that Joker didn't kill Jason Todd. He specifically states, I left you there to
in a shallow grave.
Grave.
And I felt like that was just trash talking though.
But I think
metaphorical.
I think it's important because I wonder if the next issue will be the criminal Joker who shot Barbara Gordon from the Batman the Killing Joke. If he will say, I shot you not to kill you. I think that this is obviously a through line. I think that to probably support what Andre is saying, by the time we get to that third issue, I think there will still be some questions. I think that's Geoff Johns' motive operandi. He leaves questions looming as if he was writing for Lost. And he will never really have
Chris Nolan.
Yes,
it's his inception moment.
Right.
The pinning top.
So, but I think that it will be satisfying. I think that when Geoff Johns hits his stride, he does great. And Andre knows every time I would come in, I would bitch and complain about Doomsday Clock being late. If you read them all now that all the issues are out, it's a great read. These won't be late. They've committed that they're coming out now, September, October. I think it's going to be a great book. But what ramifications it does have for the DCU going forward, I'm just not sure, because I don't know if it's going to be one Joker or if it's going to be a lot more. I don't know. I know it's kind of a wishy-washy answer, but I do think the next issue we'll see that the Joker, the criminal Joker, will tell Barbara Gordon he didn't kill her on purpose. I think it's going to tie into what we just saw with Red Hood. There's going to be retconning, I guess is really what I'm saying.
All comics is about retconning. It's just a matter of how long do they get to be alive before someone retcons or changes it based on what they need as a writer.
I don't want to gloss over the fact that Jason Todd just killed like the Joker, right? Like let's be honest.
That's
here.
Crazy, but in a couple pages before, he basically murders that little sidekick guy. I forgot what his name was.
No, the shark did. He didn't do anything.
The shark eats him. But Jason Todd is sitting there, and he's having flashbacks to that issue of where the Joker is beating him with the crowbar. And God, listen.
I think that was the darkest part of the book. Sure.
If people drill into these things, if you grab this issue and you see what Fabok did with the black and white, the memories of the black and white back into color, he mimics Brian Boland's criminal Joker. He mimics that picture of Jason Todd bloodied and bruised in black and white. Like, his art was phenomenal. It was so tight on this issue. But to see Jason Todd thinking about that moment where he was lying there dead and being told essentially that the Joker said, I just made you my Robin. By keeping you alive, I made you my Robin. And and Barbara's like, Jason, don't do it. And he's got the gun and he shoots, and it's not even like off panel where you see it in shadow. It's like full on Pulp Fiction whack, like head out, and dropping. So
Pulp Fiction spoilers.
Well, no,
sorry,
you don't.
1994.
To say someone gets shot in Pulp Fiction is not the spoiler.
Okay, that happens every
that's
second.
like in Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs.
The dinosaur ate someone.
The dinosaurs are roaming.
The dinosaurs are roaming. Oh, okay. Well, I think we're okay.
So that's that. Andre's saying, about the violence and the brutality. I think it's going to ramp up. I think it definitely will.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I did like that moment. To be honest with you, like, I like that revenge aspect. But the one thing that is bothering me about that is, since Jason Todd came back, and they did bring him back in a pretty interesting way. You got to admit, it was while it was very unbelievable, it was interesting. But the character came back. He has weapons. He's super violent. All of these things. There's no way he doesn't kill the Joker before this.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way. He comes back. If he ever found the Joker's iced. So when this moment finally happens, you have to ask yourself, why did it take so long? Like, Red Hood, it didn't just, come back yesterday. So again, there's definitely some misdirection here, in that whoever that was shot might not have even been any instigation. And I think, like, I love that, the action scene and the set piece. It did feel very cinematic with the panels, and then, but again, question Batman's motive. Batman knows who Red Hood is. He's like, why would he leave him with the dude that killed him? There's two, for me, I respect Geoff Johns a lot, and I like a good action story and stuff, but there's a lot of questions that arise by the telling of this particular story. If it is in continuity, if it's not in continuity and it sits out on its own, you're like, okay, cool, wicked, I can forgo that. Maybe Jason Todd never got close to Joker, but how many comics have we seen them working together, Batman or doing something, and the Joker's been around? Or why did he never hunt the Joker, before this? But again, I don't think Batman would leave Jason Todd, especially after what he did in the ambulance on the way there, which was very cool, but crazy.
Yeah.
Like, Andre, this is we entered a haunted house scenario. More people will just leave the haunted house, but you need this transaction to happen, or there's no movie or no situation. But also,
there's better ways to get there. Right? There's better ways to get there.
But you only have a limited amount of panels, and if you own a character, you're not going to just kill the Joker immediately. It's different if it was.
No, I get that.
And also the raising of thing. There's a Lazarus pit, Andre. Anyone can die, come back, no questions asked.
I agree. But I do feel that Geoff Johns is a writer of the caliber that could have made it a different scenario. Do you know what I mean? Like it just didn't feel like it happened too fast, I guess is what I'm saying. Like,
didn't feel authentic, like it didn't earn it.
It didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel, and I love the dialogue. You're absolutely right, Rob. I love the dialogue with the Joker taunting him and getting in his head and stuff like that. And Barbara Gordon, and he says to Barbara, Red Hood, Jason Todd says to Barbara, you never miss. When's the last time you missed? So it makes sense. But if you have these characters, and especially Red Hood, who we know he's violent with using the guns and he'll beat people, he doesn't have that life ethic that Bruce Wayne does or Barbara Gordon. So when Barbara Gordon confronts her Joker, like, do I want to see them scrap it out? Sure. But I'm not going to believe that Barbara Gordon is going to go to that level of bringing that Joker near death, because they've had countless of interactions. Again, if this is meant to be in a separate timepiece and in its own bubble,
we will wait to see till the final issue, right? Because again, this is one of three.
But there's one last thing I wanted to point out, and is that we kind of touched on the fact that in DC Rebirth, Geoff Johns wrote, and there's that panel where the back computer shows that there's 3 different Jokers. And you guys know there's 27 covers for the next, all combined with all these 3 issues. The one Joker that they reference and they show in DC Rebirth and is in one of these upcoming covers, is the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, slick back hair. And I think that Geoff Johns, I think if you want my last prediction, Stu, is that we're going to see that Joker make an appearance at some point. I think he plays a role in this overall story, maybe towards the end.
Mhm.
But Geoff Johns wouldn't put him in there and have him in that panel 4 years ago if as a throwaway. So I think if we're one Joker we're missing, it's the most recent Snyder Capullo Joker.
And again, it'll be interesting to, when the third issue comes back, to look back at this episode to see where we're at and how things are going and how wrong or how right we were. But I think we have to give it a little more latitude, because again, they only have, as Rob and I were talking about, only 47 pages in that comic, and 47 divided by average 8 to 9 panels per page. So they're trying to jam in a lot, and you can't fit everything you want in there. If there's only 3 books, I think to your point, the nuance of story, Andre, where they could add more is lost when you can only do 3 books. So I'm sure if they had a little more runway, but then also bogs down, because if it's sometimes we've seen books with too much, and you're like, yeah, you can slim it down.
They have told a longer story, because at 45 pages, every issue is like 2 regular comics. So even though it's a 3 prestige, it's 6 issues. That's a lot of time to tell a story.
Typical story arc, yeah.
So yeah, so they're chugging through it, which is great. And like I said, I'm down for the ride. It's highly anticipated, and it's definitely, I think it was worth the demand. Like, I got to tell you, opening up the store, we had people calling the day before ready for this book, and that Wednesday we opened up at 11 o'clock. There was people outside waiting for that book, calls all day. So definitely the word got out that this book was in demand and stuff. And I'm hoping that the people that are getting this do a little bit of that research and go and read The Death of Robin, go and read The Killing Joke, go and read some of the Joker Fish stuff. My favorite stuff is like some of the Jim Aparo run of Batman and what did the Joker there with the 70s and in the 70s and 80s. So lots of stuff to pick up on, not just the modern movie-esque Jokers. Like, get into some of this comic book stuff, because it's great.
So now that we've kind of finished off our thoughts, that's a wonderful segue, Andre, because that goes on to my first question. Is I'm asking each of you today, what is your favorite Joker appearance in comic book form? So John, I know you are not the biggest fan of the Joker, but can you think of a time when you saw him? And that's the nice thing about it. Appearances, it could be a panel, it could be just him kind of showing up and doing his thing, but is there an appearance that's memorable to you? A fun appearance, yes.
Fun appearance. This character actually terrifies me. Like, scared of like what types of things he does. Like, even The Killing Joke, when you hear about what he does in The Killing Joke, it's like I don't know if I want to read that. So
he's hilarious, John. He's hilarious.
He's not hilarious.
Hilarious.
He's like if you ever watch Saw and stuff, like, you're like, man, I don't want to watch Saw. Like, this sounds like a horrible idea, right? But yeah, I was gonna cheat in an animated appearance, because I feel like I like that Joker more, because he's not as nutso as the comic Joker. Like, you can clearly tell he seems to kill people in the animated series, but he doesn't. They kind of play it off like, well, they're frozen in this Joker smile and they're off to the hospital. They don't actually go, these guys are dead, right? So I don't know if you guys are gonna let me cheat that in, but if I can't, I do like this story, like this current story, and I would probably choose that kind of comes to mind.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll let you slide,
because I know we might talk about the other stuff later. So
you're terrified, John. So we're gonna let
there
you
was
go.
a Batman animated series comic.
It's like when
so
people are like,
fine.
my favorite character is Carnage and Joker. I'm like, oh Jesus. I don't know if I want to hang out with you later tonight.
No, you can't unfriend. No, you just gotta keep best friend. Just keep him close. Keep him close. I think to see where you are at all times.
No.
You don't unfriend the person who
he's like Mr. Freeze. He'll freeze you, but Joker is like, it's crazy. You know?
Wait,
Yeah,
does
no.
anybody want to put a money on whether John's gonna have nightmares tonight?
Yeah, Rob, you can unfriend the
Gorilla Grodd will
guy.
turn everyone into apes. You know? It's like
You can unfriend the guy whose favorite character is Plastic Man, but you do not want the one that's Carnage. So, because we all know
pain will just break
Elongated
your
Man.
back. You know?
Elongated Man is both a detective and super electric spelling things. So he's like Batman and Plastic Man combined. So that's Elongated Man. Anyways, Rob, your thoughts?
Yeah. So my favorite, so listen, man, I've hyped Andre and about this in the last couple episodes when we talked about Batman, and that Andre got me back into comics with the New 52 run and the Court of Owls. And so what I did is and I mentioned this before, I think in the last couple episodes we talked about the Batman stuff, and I picked up the Court of Owls volume, and then volume 3, The Death of the Family. I got to tell you, this, to John's point, to support
It's
John.
scary.
Well, I wouldn't say it's scary, but it's
he's at a table of like all like Batman's family, like all messed up.
Oh, muffin. This terrified me in a great way, because it really put me. It gave me a Joker that I was not accustomed to. Listen, I didn't grow up in the 60s, but we all watched reruns of the Batman TV show with Cesar Romero. I went lined up for 4 hours to see Batman 89 with Jack Nicholson. I've seen all the cinematic versions. I've watched the Batman the Animated Series. I've read a fair amount of comic books with the Joker, but this is the one that I actually felt that this was a terrifying Joker. The fact that he cut his own face off in Detective Comics what they call number 1 from the New 52 reboot, and then his whole wears the skin as a mask was bananas to me, coming back in as a relatively a rebirthed reader, no pun intended, but then to see, as John was saying, having the entire family, the whole Bat family around a table, and they've been Jokerfied, and potentially being killed or tortured or maimed in front of Batman. Like this was it's so shocking and gruesome, and yet so much fun that you just wanted more. And this is where I've always said, I want more, John. So yeah, for those who want a really good storyline, I would suggest contacting the store and picking up volume 3, Death of the Family, because it is unreal. Yeah. It's great.
And you got to read the stuff before that, because that's Court of Owls. You got to get ready.
Yeah, so
just read that whole run. That whole run is incredible.
And I know that Andre has said that the Snyder Capullo run, and I think I think Andre has said in the past it's one of his favorites, and it was definitely mine. I loved it. So yeah.
Andre?
Yeah. So if we're looking for our favorite Joker story,
appearance,
or
story or appearance, yeah.
So yeah, like Death in the Family and the Joker with the removed face, definitely just sick on a different level. Mm-hmm. But I will say, like John, like the Joker doesn't terrify me, but I feel as a character, like he's not my favorite Batman villain. You have to really do something smart and original with him for me to get on board, like a cool take on the character. So I would say, like, again, I enjoyed Mark Hamill's the animated series Joker the most. Of course, Death in the Family, that was just on a different level. But my favorite Joker story is the Snyder and Capullo, but the end game. And this is the final showdown between Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Joker. And the way that this last arc built up is that the Joker is kind of this like almost force of nature specter that's been haunting Gotham for decades. Like, he shows up in like newspaper pictures, and is that the Joker's face? Like, is that, and it's creepy. And the last fight, it's this fight to the death between Batman and Joker in this like labyrinth, and they are just going at each other. And it was like, you know, I really got the impression that what Snyder was writing is like, if I could end these two characters now forevermore, this is how it's going to play out. And I remember reading it and how Snyder was writing it. He was writing it from Batman's point of view, and he's like, he didn't know if he was coming out of that. Like, he didn't know if he could beat this Joker. Like, this was a Joker he had never seen before. This was a Joker that was out fighting him, you know, just doing everything. And that Joker, like, I thought, wow. Like, I know people said, oh, I don't like it because it's a supernatural take, but it was decently written, and he laid the foundations for you to question everything you know about the Joker. And at the end of the day, was that all a big deception? You know,
Yeah.
Don't know, right? So very cool arc. You know, it wasn't the end of the run, but it was kind of, you know, Bruce Wayne did disappear at the end of that, and Joker wasn't seen again. And there was two other trades that rounded out the that story. But wow, that one called Endgame, like, if you read it as such, it's just.
This was the Sherlock Holmes situation where they both fell off the
Not even they,
top of the
like,
mountain, and they both
they
died. So
they beat each other, like, and then the thing collapsed and all. Wow, man, it was crazy. And like I said, it wasn't just the fight. Like, the fight was good, but it was the, you know, the description of what was going through their minds or Batman's mind, and also then the, you know, like, just the build up. It was like one of those comics that you read and you're on the edge of your seat. You know, you're turning pages eagerly. So I've always said I love reading comics by the issue. I know trades are a great way to consume them, but to me, when you read that issue and you flip the page and it's like to be continued, and you got to wait 30 days for the next part, that's the best part of this shop talk, because people come in the store and like, yo, did you read Batman? And then we're talking and we're like, what's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? That month of anticipation. Yeah, that month of anticipation,
Yep.
You know, just amazing, you know, and then you get to see, you know, if your predictions are right or what. But yeah, that team for that run of Batman, 52 issues, man. Like, if you like Batman and you don't own that run, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, I don't.
It's one of the, actually, because we've said, you know, I got back into the trades, but it's one of the only runs I've hunted down the single floppies. Just that's why I just pulled it out, because I have it right in front of me here. That run, it's phenomenal. You're right, man.
So the next kind of question, and Andre kind of also mentioned it too, was animated, or there's been lots of representation of Joker, whether it's video games, of course, the movies, animated movies, television shows. I think he's been played by over 40 actors plus the Joker himself. But I wanted to ask all of you, starting with John, who is your favorite Joker, and not the show or the movie. I just want your favorite Joker, the actor who you thought was the best at portraying, because I think we can say that movies are different than sometimes the actor in it. There are fabulous actors in roles in movies that were amazing, but the movie was not good, and vice versa. So I want you to tell me who your favorite Joker is, but not the movie itself.
All right, so yeah, it's easy. It was what I was going to cheat in, and it's Mark Hemmell's Joker, from animated.
I like the way you pronounce his name, Hemmell.
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 You know, from Finland, Mark Hemmell.
Hemmell.
His take on Joker definitely, you know, was a fan of Heath Ledger's whole, like, you know, watch the world burn Joker, but the animated series Joker is definitely the one that sticks out in my mind as my favorite.
Why?
Just because he doesn't go as crazy as the other. No, just
well, if that's the truth, Zach Galifianakis' Joker from the Lego Movie doesn't go far at all, and he's just fun.
This is true, but
that's
I think
the
just
Joker you're gonna have.
I think he benefited from very good writing from that animated series, and I will shout out. The moment I was gonna sneak in was the Batman Mask of the Phantasm. the version of Joker in there, and he had the whole part at the end, and the robot family, the wife, and just that whole sequence like was just great.
So the less scary, the better is John's answer. Fantastic.
Just tone him down a little bit, just a little bit.
Zach Galifianakis, that's the Joker. He just wants to be friends. That's it, John. That's your Joker. But I digress. Rob?
You cannot disagree with John, just like how Kevin Conroy is the definitive Batman in terms of, Mark Hemmell, or Hemmell, as normal people would call him, is probably the definitive Joker. But for me, I'm going to
You're going to say Nicholson, aren't you?
No, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to go to Heath Ledger, and I know it might be cliche, but for me, I enjoyed Jack Nicholson's Joker in '89. But seeing Heath Ledger, he just brought a different. For me, it goes back to what I was saying with the death of the family. He brought a different version of Joker than I was ever used to seeing leading up to it. Okay, my first Joker was Cesar Romero. You could see the mustache still with the white paint covering because he refused to shave his mustache. So, that's my first memory of a Joker. To go from there all the way to see what Heath Ledger did and how vastly different he was to the person who came before him cinematically, which was Jack Nicholson. There was a lot of people who were concerned. How do you live up to Jack Nicholson? How do you live up to Jack Nicholson? And he defined that role completely on his own, and he owned that role, and he obviously won the Oscar posthumously. But that to me was the best Joker that I've seen in cinematically, in television and this and that. But when I am playing those Arkham games, man, I am happy it's Mark Hamill voicing the Joker. So that's my caveat.
Got it. Andre?
Jared Leto. He's going to blow us up.
Yeah, come on.
He's going to give us rats. Slow down. It's different.
It has to be the grill and the back hair.
The Lamborghini?
And yeah, that's exactly what we want.
Oh, yeah, the
with the happy face on. Yeah. Why are you covering your face for? What are you doing that?
It was different.
It was stupid.
It was different. Yeah, that's sure. So yeah, it's definitely Mark Hamill. For me, but okay, since John's picked it, but we've pretty much everybody's spoken about the best. But I guess if I had to pick the most influential Joker to me from television or film, I have to say Cesar Romero, because I grew up going home for lunch and watching that Batman show with my mom, and that it was just campy. It's these fond memories, and it's kind of while it's silly, right? He was still this criminal, and the crimes that he did was just crazy. So if somebody's going to be this Joker character and he's gonna be insane, it's just gonna be these stupid crimes instead of we get to the Heath Ledger one and it's just this crazy scheme that really has nothing to do with
elaborate with the bridges and the boats.
It had nothing to do with with crime and robbery and stuff. And that to me, the one thing that the Joker needs to be, in my interpretation, what I like about it is that he's got to have this motivation that you cannot understand, but he's the clown prince of crime, emphasis on the clown. It's funny to him, but there's also a bit of he wants to make you laugh, and he's not going to understand why you don't, so he's going to continue to try and make you laugh. And I think that gets missed when you do a Jared Leto Joker. There was nothing funny about that guy. There was nothing. It was just, I don't know what it was. And
to be fair, Andre, as that SNL skit once said, is it funny haha or funny strange? So it was funny strange. That's what it is.
It was funny stupid.
As well.
Wait for the air cut, Rob.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Oh yeah,
he probably shot 6 hours of footage, and we're gonna get a 4-part spot on HBO Max because of
digitally erase all the tattoos off of his face and everything else, and maybe get rid of all that stuff. Yeah, no thanks.
That wasn't his vision.
So now that I mentioned that, so I'll pivot and go the other direction because you saw the way I was angling. So I want you guys to give me the best movie that the Joker's ever been in. Not the best performance, the best movie, period, that has an appearance of the Joker in it. That is a harder question.
Can I go?
I'll let you go first, Andre, because John, I can see the gears in John's going. He's like, I don't have anything. So I'll let Andre go
Mask
first.
of Phantasm, Mask of Phantasm. I don't know.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
You've already burned it, John. You've already burned it. Burn notice. You went too far. This is why you don't talk too much. You burned it. You can save that gem later on.
You paused for a second, so I thought I needed more.
Nope.
Way to go, Icarus. You got
burned it.
too close to the sun.
I feel like if you go back in the footage, Stu purposely baited me to make sure
No, I
said
did
it.
not.
Nope.
So I
No.
wouldn't have it later.
Specifically, I laid it all out. I'm like, Rob and
growing on
Andre both
RoboCop
knew. It's like,
chair.
he's going to ask me that question on the way back. I got to keep things tight. Gotta keep things tight. Andre, please continue, sir.
Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker.
Nice.
Damn it, that would have been my other backup answer.
That was some scary, psychological, great stuff, man. Like, who saw that coming? Like, just that was the plan. It was what I like. Mask of the Phantasm is the pivotal,
OG, best
Batman
movie.
movie. But when Batman Beyond came out, and then that movie in particular, Return, and the fear in Bruce when Terry McGinnis had to face the Joker, like, oh my God, yeah, and what the Joker did to great, just a great flick. So,
Rob?
No, please allow John to go.
John needs more time. We're stuck.
I got nothing. I'm not even buying time.
I got nothing.
I will have nothing.
This is classic John. I got nothing.
I got nothing. Is anything with Army Hammer in it? I got nothing. I don't know.
Well, technically, yes. Lego Batman. Army Hammer was in that movie. So he was in that movie, probably, wasn't he not? Whatever. We'll say it.
So best movie that the Joker is in.
Yeah.
Listen, I got two. I don't know what to do here because
Give me one.
all right. Okay, I'm gonna whisper it. Ready, John? The Dark Knight Returns. Listen, I'm gonna go with my Nolan, with the Nolan, the Dark Knight. For me, that's probably been the best Batman movie ever. I mean, I found him that. Listen, if anybody says Dark Knight, the first thing I always think about is that scene in the back of the kitchen where he wants to show a magic trick and he smashes Spawn's head.
His henchman, not his head.
No, I thought it was Spawn. I thought it was Michael.
No, it was not. It was not.
Henchman. Oh, right, okay.
It was a henchman.
His henchman gets owned.
Yeah,
and
with the
nobody bats an
pencil.
eye that
He's
guy
like,
got
"Oh."
murdered.
Whack like that.
Technically, in the DCU, he's Bronze Tiger, I think, or like
That's
whatever.
true. Yes. Yeah. Thanks,
The
Flash.
CW, he's
Team Arrow.
Team
So
Arrow,
yeah,
yeah.
no, listen, that was when you first, that was his introduction, right? I mean, yeah, we saw the back of his head with the amazing bank robbery and this and that, but you don't really see much of him. That was his first real introduction as a Joker, and he took a dude out by a pen into the guy's eye, into his brain. So I'm gonna go with the Dark Knight as being the best movie featuring the Joker.
Do you have some? You want me to give you something, John? Do you want me to feed
The Dark
one for you?
Knight by Michael Emerson was voiced by Michael
If I
Emerson.
was John right now, I would say my favorite appearance of the Joker is, of course, in one of a fighting game, which is Mortal Kombat, where he shows up out of nowhere, starts fighting people. That would be.
Movies, Stu. You
You
said
did say movies.
I said media, didn't I?
No.
TV? I said
Setting
movie,
up,
right?
setting
said
up
movie
for
TV?
John.
you were gonna say media, then it might change.
I think I said movie or TV. Okay, you're right. Media,
We said movies.
movies, movie
movie.
or TV?
Yeah.
Okay, movie or TV. I'll give you a TV. You can go TV.
If you say Jerome, I'm going to come over there and beat you from Gotham.
Well,
So you better not be Jerome.
I'm gonna say the Justice League Snyder cut is gonna be my favorite appearance of Joker because they're throwing everybody in that goddamn movie, and I'm sure Joker is gonna appear.
Wait a minute. So for those who are listening,
I'm just joking.
who are listening audibly
There's
to
a
iTunes or Spotify, Andre right now, first of all, he's yawning because he's just so bored with John's antics. But we're all looking at John saying, "What in God's name are you talking about? Joker is not part of the Snyder Cut, man.
That's what you say now, and then you're
That's
like,
what you say, yeah.
12 hours of footage he made. He filmed the Joker cameo that we don't know about. But yeah, it was going to be Mask of the Phantasm. I've already talked about that.
I got
You're going to
nothing.
let me switch it up. Yeah, I really do have nothing after that.
Oh my God.
But the episode where he does appear in the animated series where he's on that junk barge, I forgot what it's called. I think it's one of the earlier episodes. And he's got this boat and he's got this giant robotic clown and he's poisoning the Gotham's water with the Joker serum and stuff like that. Like that.
John, why don't you say the Netflix movie or the weird Batman ninja movie where the Joker's in it and he's a mech warrior?
Is he made out of monkeys? I don't remember if he was made out of monkeys.
I don't think it was made out of monkeys, but it was a Joker in feudal Japan with mech warriors. I believe that's a thing that
I think at one point a bunch of monkeys combined into something.
Yes, Bat monkeys. Yes.
Wait, John, you're such a big fan of this episode and Batman the Animated Series. Now, can you remind me? Is this Joker drawn with only the black eyes, or did he have the full white eye because they redid the way that he looked? Please.
It was his original look because it's during the first season. But
I don't even Rob's talking. For those at home, he's moving his mouth, but nothing's coming out. So I'm not sure if he's on mute or that was on purpose or not on purpose. So.
He's trying to be a punk.
We can't hear him. So I thought it was a
He's
bit.
gone. Rob's gone.
No, he just
conveniently his audio is
himself.
gone.
That is great.
So I would love to be able to default and say the Joker Joaquin Phoenix movie, but I was terrified of that movie too, and I haven't watched it.
That was amazing. For those who are watching on the YouTubes, Rob is going off, and we all thought he was doing a bit, like pretending to speak, but
he can't hear you.
It's actually his mic is dead. So we're like, Rob is thinking next level, doing a whole thing where it's like. But meanwhile, no, his mic is gone. So Rob.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
We can.
Oh, man, that was so
moment's
good.
gone. The moment's gone. You lost.
Yeah, we thought that was a big bit. Wow,
it was a great bit. I wanted to know whether John knew how the joke. Forget it. It doesn't make a difference. I was
about that part, but then
about the Joker. So I was asking John to please tell us how
we did until you got the glasses in your mouth, and then all of a sudden you went mute.
It doesn't matter now. It's over. It's done.
Yes, the time for laughter is over. It's as.
Hey, Tim Cook, thanks for these great Apple earphones and microphone. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, and we'll leave off, I guess, with the last question. Goodness gracious. Joker, as John's mentioned time and time again, is not a funny character. He's mainly a scary, terrifying character. So I think John will be able to say any appearance of Joker terrifies him, but I want everyone to end off with the one time when you saw Joker that truly terrified you. So a scary Joker moment. Leave us off with a scary Joker moment, John. Because clearly he's not the. When was the time you saw Joker? We can double back, but the time that you saw Joker.
It's definitely the Killing Joke.
You can't even read the comic. How can it be the Killing Joke?
I don't even want to mention it. Like I don't even want to.
I don't want to mention it.
It's so like,
it's not Candyman. If you don't say his name 3 times in a row, it's not gonna happen.
And then he knocks on the door, and he's wearing that hat and that freaking camera. And
this is not Biggie Smalls. This is not Candyman. If you don't say his name 3 times in a row, I said twice in a row. John, you better be careful.
Can we all just agree that we have great fans who listen and comment on this show? And I'd really like it if we could all coordinate an effort to all dress up as a Joker and go to John's for Halloween. Because
you're not coming in.
I think that would be better than having a whole bunch of Jokers outside of John's house for Halloween.
Are clowns not scary? Clowns are scary.
Clowns are scary, yes. Clowns are scary.
All right, put your big boy pants on and answer the question.
Tell us, John, what's the terrifying?
Basically, what he does to Barbara Gordon, if you don't know, he's the whole Killing Joke story is that he's trying to break Jim Gordon and do all these terrible things to him. And one of the things he does is he pops Barbara Gordon and
paralyzes her.
Yeah, takes some pictures, and I don't even want to talk about it anymore because it's terrifying.
Okay. All right. So that's that. John, thank you for sharing. Rob.
So I'm gonna go. I mean, I've already mentioned Death of the Family. I'm gonna go back to 1986 in the Wayback Machine. And when you had to vote in to make a decision of whether or not Robin was going to live or die, and just by a short margin of, I think, Andre, is it 40 something votes? The populace
It was
voted for.
close. There's controversy over an auto dialer tipping the scales to death.
But this Death in the Family, as Andre mentioned, Jim Aparo, who worked on this. As a kid in 1986, the Joker was, the bowl of fish and this and that. To see him take a crowbar to Robin, it wasn't just, again, I'm going to drop something on you. He viciously murdered this boy, right?
Boy, yes, 100% boy.
We have to remember that Jason Todd, when he died, he was not of age to have an alcoholic beverage. He was still a boy, and he was murdered, and what we believe to be left was dead. So I think that for me, that scars you, that haunts you, not to the point where I wet my pants like John, but this is it's a terrifying view into the Joker, and so yes, Death in the Family. Is definitely my pick.
Andre?
Well, those are great picks, and I think definitely Killing Joke is one of the definitive Joker stories and stuff. But I'm gonna go a little bit more modern, since that one's been taken, and talk about just the realistic, the realism of the trade paperback Joker, where we see this guy going after the criminals to retake his throne. Like this is like almost as real as it gets, and you're like, holy crap, man! It was beautifully drawn. Brian Azzarello writes crime fiction, so it felt as real as it comes, and just vicious. We see this is us seeing the criminal mastermind, the psychotic criminal that he is. So again, very few Joker centric stories do I want to read, but that take on the Joker as well, very, very good, very, very good, and absolutely terrifying in its realism.
So, do I dare ask who's played the worst Joker of all, or do we all have an agreement that it's one person and one person alone based on?
It's Jared Leto.
Rob?
Oh no, Andre said it with the best answer possible, the best way. Yeah, Leto. Smell you later.
Not Hemmell. John, are you on board with this?
Of the versions I've seen, maybe he deserved a better chance, but yeah, it's the worst out of all of them, because there's been so many great interpretations we've already covered. So
yeah, he's Morbius,
of which
he's a living
only
vampire
one.
now, so he's fine. He's good. He's moved on. So we can all, you guys can all agree that Jared Leto's the worst. So let's.
Do you disagree?
Whoa, thinking off the top of my head. From a movie standpoint, I think he had.
On that. Yeah. How about the guy who was pretending to be Mark Hamill in Arkham Origins?
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's been a lot of I think it was Troy Baker. Troy Baker was trying to be Mark Hamill, and it was rough. He was Batman Assault on Arkham. It was really, I'm like, I get it, but you just be yourself. Don't be that Joker. There's a couple animated movies with some bad Jokers, but I guess if we're only saying live action, it would be Jared Leto. But
yeah, there's no contest, man. No contest.
But yeah.
I think he was kind of onto something, but that movie just was not geared for him to take that version of him.
I'm going to give a hot take though in that Joaquin.
Or Jerome. I guess the guy played Jerome in the he was bad too. With respect to I think he was fine, but I think the material he's given, that whole arc on Gotham, which God help us, was rough.
But
that show was.
In that Gotham show, did they actually call him the Joker, or like I don't think they did, right?
It was hinted at, right? He had
so
the taken off.
He never
face.
called himself Batman either, but it was Bruce Wayne. Like Bruce Wayne was there, and there was Alfred, and this guy had the face and the mouth, and he had, like, he was falling in a pit of like chemicals. So
listen, I'm going to give a hot take. Listen, I think Joaquin Phoenix, that Joker movie was great, but he just, like the Man of Steel, he wasn't the Joker until that last 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, like because I was thinking about Joaquin.
Hold on.
Joaquin,
what do you mean, just like the Man of Steel?
Well, do you remember in Man of Steel, at the very end, he doesn't become Superman until the very after everything. He doesn't become Superman.
He doesn't put on the costume.
He was Superman in Man of Steel from freaking the first moment, man. Get out of here. Rob, we'll have words. We'll do a whole podcast of this.
That's what we should do.
Wait,
you guys want to see a Man of Steel deep dive?
Just like the Flash wasn't called the Flash until he met Barry Allen in the Arrowverse.
Doesn't matter, man. Man of Steel was still Superman once, like his actions, his deeds. He was still.
But I'm saying that he wasn't referred to as Superman until like towards like.
Oh, referred to. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that goes to the point where Jerome may act like the Joker, but technically he's not called the Joker. And I think that's where Rob's making the same connection with the Man of Steel, because he wasn't technically called Superman till the very end, until he's like, on my earth or my home, it's blood. The S stands for hope.
Yeah, because remember he's floating, and then she's like, "What?" He's like, "What are you smiling at?" And she goes, "Superman." He goes, like, "What?" He goes, "That's what the guys are calling him." So, yeah.
Good pull. There we go. Jared Leto, I guess. Sure. Like
we're back to Leto.
Like he's Morbius the Living Vampire now. It's fine. He's in a whole new thing. He's
too busy with Tron 3.
He's gonna be in Tron 3. He has a big bucket to win. He has an Oscar. He has an Oscar. He's got a band. 30 Seconds to Mars. He's a lead singer of a music act. He does whatever he wants now. He's good.
Now, is Mobius the Vampire, is that the first movie featuring an animal vampire, or is that...
Get out of here.
Okay, I believe in Blade, they actually have bats as well. So
you're right.
And then in Batman, the Batman v Superman, where Bruce Wayne gets lifted by bats, where Andre and I almost left the theater. That was also a thing. You know that story before we leave? So here's the story. Andre, myself, and John, a bunch of guys went to see the movie because we're going to talk about the pod. And then the moment where Batfleck talks about he was in the thing and he was lifted by bats, I was getting ready to get out of my seat and leave.
It was like, well, good movie. Let's go.
This is it. I'm done with this movie. And he's like, and that was a dream.
Wait, you gotta say it right. It was the first scene, and I remember just looking at you, and we were sitting beside each other, and we're like, "Let's go!" Like, you're not assuming that Batman is super talk to bats, are they?
And then it was like, that was a dream. And then me and Andre both unclenched and sat back down. We're like, fine, we'll see the rest of this movie.
But meanwhile, John's like, but do I still get your popcorns? Because you guys are...
And then we went immediately did a podcast afterwards, and mistakes were made all around. We were not happy. Yeah, Mike was with us, and yeah. Anyways, so thank you for joining us on today's discussion and podcast of The Joker. 3 Jokers as well as Jokers.
Yeah, pick it up. I love it. Awesome. Pick it up.
Again, please feel free to comment.
No, John, where did you go? It's Batman. Oh, it's John.
He is in the Batcave. So please feel free to comment about your favorite Joker or your thoughts and your predictions of where this second issue and third issue are going. So please do that. Again, comments on Instagram are great because Rob and John are on top of that, and on YouTube. Please subscribe and follow us on the channels. Click like, the bell, all that stuff. You know, if you watch YouTube, you know what you're supposed to do. You just anything.
You guys are veterans.
You're a veteran, and help is awesome. We appreciate it. We're building slowly, and hopefully we'll continue to provide stuff that you like to see. And I think if you want to provide some feedback, then send it to DM to John, and we'll sort it out there, or complaints to aircanada.com. Rob, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can get me on Twitter or Instagram at Rob Gadet. I actually think I might keep wearing my glasses when doing these podcasts, dude.
That's great.
Right, I do feel much smarter.
100%. I think it's the best thing. I think you look great, Rob. It's
a great prop.
For visual gags.
Yeah.
Although admittedly, when I took it off, it made a funny
It's a matter of time before you break them.
oh man!
You're like, oh, you're gonna be watching in the middle of the night, and the arm's gonna fall off.
Rob's be like, "That's Clark Kent." No, it's Superman. Oh, it's Clark Kent. No, it's Superman. I can't tell which one it is.
Yeah, Rob Gannett on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks,
John. Tell us about the store stuff.
Yeah, so Heroes World Online on Facebook, as well as the YouTube. Obviously, you might be watching this on YouTube, or you might be listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, or whatever podcast service you use. And we also do have a Twitter account set up, so you can hit us up, where you can get the updates for every episode and guests and things like that coming out. And it's Heroes World Pod, P-O-D, on Twitter.
Andre?
I'm hanging out in our very own Bat Cave, which is our brick and mortar store. 8601 Warden Avenue, conveniently located, parking, everything. We're just outside the GTA. We are open back for business. You can come in, take a look. You can order online. You can contact us through Facebook. We can arrange curbside pickup. Anything you need, we want to make you feel comfortable and safe and offer you all these good things. We've got 3 Jokers and all the hottest books at cover price, which is very nice. Yeah, come on by and talk shop. And thank you for supporting our podcast. Please tell your
friends.
Do
not dress as the Joker and come in and expect it.
From me. Not when John's there. Andre would be fine with it. It's fine. Thanks everyone for supporting and liking and whatnot. Again, there's ample free parking there. Let's not forget that. You don't have to pay to park to go to the store. So if you need, you can just walk in. It's great. I want to thank everyone again, and thank our big guests, the last pod for our Black Panther one, Kevin, Ray, Ron, and Warren for joining us. That was a really cool one, and I was thankful that all you guys were able to show up and give your thoughts. Rob was unavailable. He was at the Arkham Asylum visiting a friend. We wouldn't tell us anything else besides that.
No, just a buddy I'm going to be meeting up with around Halloween.
Just getting some tips on makeup. I don't know what it is. Getting some tips and an acid bath. So these are things. But appreciate that. Was a really good conversation, a podcast.
That was good, guys.
Please.
Good job.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, again. So I look forward to seeing you guys all again. Thank you all for listening. Have a great one. See you all later.
Wait,
Nanu.